this started that I started a small, WhatsApp group called First 5 Years, and many people joined that, and then we started interacting with the same thing that we did. That I requested everyone, the participants, to relook at what we are doing at home. From the habit-oriented work that I've been engaging with children, let's step out and try something different. Because I have come to realize that the way we treat children are not very conducive for their their true development of creativity, intelligence, and all that, because we are over parenting them. That is the main reason, and children don't require that. That's the reason. It's not that if something is required, if they're not well, if you do something, that is different. But on a day-to-day basis, every day, you are continuously making them feel dependent on you. Every way, in every of their actions, we are approving them. They need to really have an independent mind. They must learn how to take decisions. They must, because they are equipped to do that. That is the reason why I'm, telling this. Children are really equipped because after all, we are all biological beings. And if you understand the rules of biology, like for example, digestion, how much control do we have in the process of digestion? Digestion happens on its own, and when you give wrong food, it will indigest. If you give the right food, it gives you the right kind of, So there is really not much control within the biological processes that are happening inside us. Similarly, learning or development is an internal process, So the external condition, like the food, is an external thing. And if you give the right food, then the internal condition will take care of itself. You don't have a control over what is happening inside the being, So similarly, you just look at this. The brain's capacity is to create knowledge. But all of us, like, the adults, I'm talking about the adults. See, we have gone through schooling. And the whole schooling was about somebody's information was given to us. We mugged it up and passed the exam and came out. That's all what we did. We never, anytime, created knowledge. So unless there is a possibility of creating an environment where children are allowed to create knowledge, their brain is going to be developed for analyzer of somebody's information. And they will constantly following somebody else's rule. Because see, when you give a drawing with that outline, they're only filling it up. So you're already controlling what they should do. So we will look at the whole, what kind of environment children needs. Number one, first is the psychological environment. Psychological environment that the child needs is of respect. That, what I mean by respect is that a cognitive respect. Yani they have intelligence. They are already equipped with intelligence to make sense of the world. So that autonomy should be given to them. Number one. Secondly, we must differentiate between the materials around the world that the child tries to understand and the language that the child uses to identify that. So we must not confuse learning with reading, because what language is nothing but a representation or description of the real world. So when you say, when you could take an example of how Newton understood the laws of physics. He actually looked at what was happening now. It was the world that he was trying to understand, because he was doing things from which he was able to understand. So unless you are observing the phenomena of nature, there is no way you can understand anything. So let's not replace it with learning to write, learning to read, and all that kind of thing. That are very, very secondary to the real ability of a child to observe and understand the world. And another mistake that we have done is that we have created this word called play. Because I'm sure now you must have been reading many, many theories about play, way of learning, toys are good for children. All these kind of talks are just market related talks. They want to sell things, though they keep bombarding you with this kind of strange ideas. But, if the child wants to understand the world, they would remake it. And they are being playful. It is different from play. Playfulness is, you look at the way children eat things. All kinds of playfulness is what they do while they're eating. They're not just eating, no? They are constantly doing something or the other with the food, So for them, interacting with the world, they only know one way. And that way is to playfully engage with it. It is not, so this playful engagement is something that we mistake as an activity called play. So this playful, in order to encourage playfulness, what we need to do is to keep keep spaces and allowing them to do things, So you can make sure that, you look at today, as I was looking at one video, the child has kept few, pillows around, and the child has told that is their house, So the child is not only interested in making the real thing. For example, they might be wanting to make chapatis, or whatever that you're doing. They want to cook with you, but they also want to create a play of that. What I mean by play here is a imaginative recreation of an experience. This is what play is. Child recreates an experience to understand the experience. This is what the child does. So we think it is just play. It's not play, because you will see that almost every experience the child is recreating. The child go to school, they come back and play teacher games. So the child is then becoming a teacher. Becoming a teacher and recreating that experience of the teacher. And when a child goes to the market, they create a small market around, and then they start selling. Anything that fascinates the child, their experience, they come back and recreate that experiences. And this recreation of experiences are also very interesting to watch, because sometimes they are recreating that whole experience, and then within that experience they will make use of anything that is around. For example, in the doctor's case, that I saw the video today, the child was using, he is a doctor then, then he uses the pen and whatever that is around to as props to conduct this activity that the child is doing. So we have now mistaken the props to be toys. Children don't need toys. Children are recreating an experience, and for recreating that experience, anything will do. For example, a simple bottle. A bottle would become a rocket, maybe. It can become a child. It can become anything. So what is important is that the child is recreating an experience and taking an object that has some kind of connection with the original thing that they have seen. So you will see that there is a similarity in the props that they make with the objects that they have seen, and the similarity could be even just in terms of color. For example, one day I saw a child making market. So she got together, stones which really looked like potatoes. Some stones looked like egg. And then she went around and found violet flowers. And so I thought what this was. And actually, so this violet flowers represented what you call that, Bengal. So for a child is looking for some kind of similarity. It can't be similarity of form, something that looks like, or it can be similarity of texture. It can be similarity of color. It can be anything actually, you know. So the child, the children are already equipped both by, inherently to understand the world, and nature is actually, we are all biologically equipped already to do that.